My name's Alyssa, and I'm the Associate Director at Canadian Roots Exchange, or also called CRE. And so what our organization does is we're an Indigenous youth-led nonprofit organization that specifically focuses on enhancing the capacity, the self-determination, and the wellness of communities across Canada. The biggest issue facing Canada right now has a lot to do with equity and belonging. I think there are underlying barriers, there are gaps that already exist but have just been enhanced by COVID. So we've seen huge gaps in mental health supports, in community connection, and also sort of like the resources that exist at a ground level, community level for people to access. We've seen kind of like from like the equity perspective, like huge gaps between like Indigenous communities and like concepts of reconciliation. And what does that actually mean? And is that actually something that's happening on both ends? And like the same with like some of like our movements around Black Lives Matter and some of those pieces. So just those sense of belonging that's lacking kind of between Canada as like as a state sort of, and then also within our communities. I think like these gaps have only increased during the pandemic. And I think like there's a lot of calls going on for people to be able to self-determine what is best for their community, to be able to have the space for those individual voices to be highlighted, and for people to say like, this is what my community needs to be well, and then for that, those voices to be respected, and for that sort of like advocacy and advice to be followed. We've sort of since everything has happened with COVID-19, we've really seen people throw around, the term like everything is unprecedented a lot. And so I think that often this is used as sort of a like, this is unprecedented, we can't, we don't really know what we're doing. But I think like what it really needs to be approached as is an opportunity. It's an opportunity for us in this moment to redefine Canada's identity and what it looks like in the future. And so with Canada and with like the government of Canada, there really needs to be like steps taken to take accountability and action for determining how those individual voices will be included and how people are included across this whole country, and those diverse life stories, those diverse perspectives are respected and included when we're determining what that direction will be. I think there's, during COVID, we've seen so much work from communities happen where they've mobilized sort of local responses to COVID barriers. So we've seen, community groups that are responding to encampments or who are providing like supports at a ground level. And I think like for the government, like the more that they can do to like everything that they can do to support those initiatives is really those important steps forward, because it really does put that power back in community hands to say, this is what we need to be well. And it gives like those space for and to empower our youth and our future leaders that are our youth to sort of impact change and improve their communities. A lot of what COVID has done is it's highlighted sort of like the division in our communities. And so like it's looking at those spaces where, we can like respect the differences in other stories, but also like understand the similarities, and sort of be able to like come into that space where we can advocate together, and find those spaces where we can support those perspectives and understand the barriers that other people are facing, even when they're very different than the barriers that we're facing. So sort of like bringing those voices together collectively to advocate overall for everyone in our community.